welcome to Ecoholics. In the 1930s, we actually got to know about the term Great Depression, and before that, economists and many others did not have a clue of how big and how impactful it could be. But soon after 1930s, macroeconomics, policy making, government intervention, everything came to be a very prominent role. But Great Depression is a system or is within the economic periphery. It can happen to any country. So what are the traits of any depression? Let's understand that today in this video. In this video today, we are not going to understand depression because you all know the meaning of depression. We are going to understand how to understand or how to know the traits of the oncoming depression. So the very first trait would be extremely low aggregate demand. When in the economy there is extremely low aggregate demand, the aggregate demand has completely shrunk. People are not purchasing goods or services in plenty or even on an average, which means that there is something different in the economy. Stay alert. Economy will struggle with selling goods and services, but the demand still will not rise. The demand will be stagnant and after a point of time will dip at a very low, extreme low conditions. So that will be the first very important trait to understand there is an upcoming depression. Then, secondly, in the economy, we will also see that the inflation will be lower. Now, usually what happens when inflation dips or there is low inflation, it's a good thing for the economy. It's a good thing for the economic point of view because there's more stability, the purchasing power is pretty much good, and the value of money is not reducing. All of that is great. But low inflation along with the first point, extremely low aggregate demand, is a sign of high alert. So this was also a trait that was found out later after the post-mortem of the Great Depression that hit in the 1930s, right? Then the third one is shrinking of employment opportunities. In this economy, in that state of economy, we will notice that the employment opportunities are gradually shrinking. And I'm not just talking about government opportunities. I'm talking about the employment opportunities in general. So gradually the employment will not be easily available, or it will be available at a very low rate of wage or low wage rate, which will not be suitable for people, will not be suitable for candidates because their of course their academic qualifications would be much higher than that rate, right? So there will be a stage where the economy will see that there is employment is shrinking. And last but not the least, there will be forced production. Now, in those grim stages of the economy, obviously, we will see that the production, aggregate demand already has dipped extremely low. The producers still should produce because the production should not stop. If the production stops, then obviously the economy will be in shambles. So the production has to keep on happening. But how will it happen and at what cost? So the cost will be borne by the whole production team, which will include not just the producer but also the labor, the staff, the employees, the workers, everyone. There will be layoffs, there is going to be retrenchment, there is going to be production halts, there are going to be wage cuts, there are going to be wage halts. All of these things will contribute to forced production. Producers are going to just try hook or crook just to stay along and to balance their ships in this huge wreckage. But it will happen. So these four traits are very important to note because depression is a major factor which creates a devastating impact on the economy. Now what happens is, during depression, almost everything loses out of control. Government also is not able to properly manage the whole system, which is in shambles. And during the 1930s Great Depression, it was actually found out that how important is government intervention. Before that, government intervention was not a thing, was not a very contributing or productive thing. But later on, of course, proposed by John Maynard Keynes later, that government intervention has a very important weightage and a very important prominent decision making power in the policy making during depression, and it is only through government intervention that we can sail through the huge high tides of depression. So I hope that these 4 traits are clear to you all. I will bring more such topics and interesting economics terms to you. Stay tuned to Ecoholics.